Boy, time really does fly by when countdowns are fun to me. Nevertheless, I'm here to provide yet another countdown for the halfway mark of this series of superpowers. So to put a spark in everybody's mood, we're looking at my favourite element choice: electricity. While fire may be cool to use and water is beautiful to observe, electricity provides more goodness for both of these things. Killing people in mere seconds in a seriously painful way and looking really flashy while doing it? Sure, why not? As usual, only one per franchise, and yes, I'm going to pick a character from a game I haven't played as well, and also, I'm not including any gods on this list. That would make this list a little bit too obvious. So sorry Raiden fans, but he ain't on here. So there ain't nothing else to say, so let's start the damn countdown already. Starting this list off is the 16th and final Colossus of Shadow of the Colossus, Malice. Known as the Grand Gygus and the only Colossus in the game which actually responds to pain, Malice is known to be one of the greatest and most emotional final bosses in gaming history. But for the first time I can recall, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to talk about his skills as an electricity master. There are plenty of Colossi in this game that I could have chosen, like Hydrus, Phosphora, or Pelagia, and while they do use electricity, they just feel like beasts trying to attack you. Malice on the other hand acts like he's Zeus raining down those thunderbolts on the Titans, like he did in Hercules. And when he's trying to blast you to Kingdom Come with his thunderbolts, it is followed by an earth-shattering sound effect, which not only sounds fearsome, but sounds absolutely terrifying as well. Believe me, when you're getting fired at by those things, there is not a scarier sound in a video game. But unlike other electricity using Colossi like Pelagia or Phosphora, Malice can use his electricity as not only a special method of attack, but also as a physical attack. The main reason for this being is because Malice has electricity built into his arms. Because he's got arms of pain! As a Colossi, a final boss, and an electricity user, Malice is definitely one of the best. Trish from Devil May Cry 1 and 4 is one of the few reoccurring characters in the Devil May Cry series. She first appeared in Devil May Cry 1, informing Dante of Malay Island after a not so nice Volgin, and she didn't appear again until almost the very end of the game, where she betrayed Dante in the demon world. But after Dante beat Mundus, she decided to betray the demons inside of Dante as a demon hunter. Sadly, unless you include her alternate costume in Devil May Cry 2, Trish has never actually been a playable character in the Devil May Cry series. She will be returning in the HD version of Devil May Cry 4, but since that's not out yet, I can't really comment. But at least she's been a playable character in Marvel v Capcom 3. In this game, Trish played a little bit like Dante, having a massive weapon as her main weapon, but instead of using revolvers, her main weapon of choice is electricity. She's capable of using her electric magic attacks to mainly fire in a straight line most of the time, and it is effective. But it doesn't make sense, because it is an electric attack, but it has a very short range. I don't get it. And yeah, you can use it like a shield sort weapon, but what's the point of doing that? You have a hard-hitting, fast-hitting attack like electricity. I suppose Trish probably would have been higher on this list if we got to play as her some more, or even just saw her some more. I mean, even in the Devil May Cry anime, she didn't really do much in it and only appeared in about a couple episodes, and even then, most of the time she just had a rivalry with Lady. Sorry Trish, but you're sealed at number 9. Castle Crashers is a bit of a dumb game when you think about it. I mean, it's just a game where you go around playing as a bunch of knights who go around trying to rescue a group of princesses. Now, I've already mentioned the Yellow Knight in the Fire Countdown, but now let's talk about the Red Knight. Gameplay-wise, the Red Knight is just the same as all the other knights. By that I mean he can use whatever weapon he likes that he can find, but is also powered by a certain element. Case in point, electricity. Now, it's a common rule in video games that electricity is fast and hard-hitting, and in Castle Crashers this is no exception. You have his most basic splash attack known as Thunderbolt, Lightning Bullet, which is his projectile attack, and Lightning Pillar, which he uses to jump sky high, and while he's in midair, he's able to use lightning bullets to fire as air support. So yeah, he can basically do everything that Yellow Knight can do, but with electricity rather than fire. Unfortunately, just like all the other knights in Castle Crashers, this is really all we know about Red. Maybe if we got a Castle Crashers 2, we could learn a little bit more about him, but until then, he ain't going nowhere. But if you ask me, I think Red Knight should have used fire and Yellow Knight should have used electricity. It just seems more appropriate. The Kirby series has a lot of bosses which constantly reoccur throughout most of the games, and while bosses like Dino Blade, Paint Roller, or Wispy Frickin' Woods may be more iconic, Kracko definitely fits the role of a main character in the Kirby series. Design-wise, he's nothing too special. He's a thundercloud, with spikes, and an eyeball in his body. But this guy has an obsession with killing Kirby on par with deity himself. With his design the way it is, you can tell what his fighting style is going to be like. In most of his fights, Kracko will spend most of his time flying above the battlefield and rain massive thunderbolts down on top of Kirby to try and cause damage to him. This attack got a massive boost up in Kirby Triple Deluxe, but he was able to fire across the entire scene unless you go into the background using the 3D effect. And that's only what regular Kracko can do. Well, what do I mean by that, you may ask? Well, it's kind of simple. There are 4 Krakkos. I've just covered what regular Kracko can do, but Kracko's Revenge is able to fire a spark sort of attack which will cover the arena in a 360-degree radius, or when he gets really angry, fire a massive thunderbolt which will go in either a horizontal, vertical, or a diagonal direction. Mecha Kracko from Mouse Attack is able to surround himself in a great magnetic field, and his DX form basically steals Kirby's Spark ability and uses it to try and kill Kirby. While I don't really know much about Kracko himself, he is still a memorable character to say the least. You know, a person is on a list like this simply because they are good at what they do. That doesn't necessarily mean I like them. Case in point, Phosphora from Kid Icarus Uprising. I know I had a choice between her and the Chariot Master, and while as a character the Chariot Master is easily the better and more likeable character, but as an electric expert, sadly Phosphora is a superior character. Being a high-ranking commander in Viridi's army known as the Forces of Nature, Phosphora is the last member of Viridi's army who Pip meets, and makes her debut in Chapter 14, known as the Lightning Battle, where she manages to defeat Thanatos and his underworld forces. When she retreats to a base of a Thundercloud Temple to recharge the Battle Pit, Phosphora can control the electricity and turn into a bolt of lightning. This allows her to move across the sky at blinding speed and, to an extent, even teleport. But that's just one of her power's purposes. With the electricity, Phosphora can fire thunderbolts at opponents and electrify the air around her. She managed to do this in the level before her fight as well, but it doesn't really do anything to affect the player. Phosphora can also use her electrokinesis to create storms. A bloody big storm, perhaps. However, if she expends too much energy too fast, she tires easily and must recharge. In fact, she can be beaten in under 30 seconds. No, seriously, there's an achievement for doing that. It's also a little bit sad to find out she is the only member of Viridi's army who actually survives getting beaten by Pip. Kraglanch got killed, Arlong got killed, why did this bitch have to live? I guess that means she might be returning in a sequel to Uprising, when we get that in another 25 years. Wakey wakey Nintendo, we're wanting another Uprising sequel. Another Persona 4 character? Sure, why not? Now Kanji Tatsumi may have a lot of mystery revolving around his sexuality, but I don't care about that. Kanji is cool either way. He has the appearance of a common street punk, but on the inside is a guy with some feminine interest and actually a very skilled knitter. And he's voiced by Troy Baker, and Troy Baker's cool. While he can keep his cool in battle when he has his main weapon, better known as a folding chair, but when Kanji gets his persona out with Take Mikazuchi, who, according to history, was a guy who slayed Kagasuchi, the newborn fire god. Though he's had various Arcana representations throughout the series, but he has always been an Arcana who specializes in electricity, like the Emperor or the Hierophant. As you could have guessed by now, Take Mikazuchi is to electricity like what Konohana Sakuya is to fire. By that I mean it can do a lot of electricity based damage, but can also excel in something else. But rather than being a healer, Take Mikazuchi is a physical fighter as well, and starts to learn mild attack like Mazio and Zionga, which will deal light and medium electricity attacks to damage individuals or large groups. Eventually he will begin to gain more powerful attacks, and upgrade them to Ziodyne and Matsuodyne, which will deliver heavy electric damage, and he has skills which increase electric attacks by 50% as well as nullify all electric attacks. Naturally, it's very resilient to electricity-based attacks, and for some reason weak to wind. But Kanji is still a favourite of mine in Persona 4 Arena Ultimate. Now we just need to get his sexuality figured out before it gets a little too far.
Oh, check out those muscles. Even a man like me can't help but stare. Wait, no, that came out wrong. Damn it!
Oh, right. I'm guessing it's too late for that. Number 4 is one of the more obscure characters from the Mario universe. From Paper Mario, we have What?
What?
Don't you start. Anyway, What is the 5th companion you obtain in the Paper Mario story. You first meet her on your trip to the Shy Guy's toy box, where you must require her from beating her host, known as the Lantern Ghost, who has trapped her in a lantern to help light up the room where you fight him in. It's a tough fight, sure, but What is definitely worth it. She's useful enough outside of battle, because she can light up passageways that are seriously dark, and you don't really do it all that much, but it's still very useful. But when you get into battle, What is a goddess. Since she has electric power, What is able to breach through any defense, making her a great ally against most bosses and against pretty much any Koopa-based enemy. And when you upgrade her, she can learn 3 very nifty little attacks. The first attack is Power Shock, which will paralyze a single enemy, and if you can then upgrade her to Super Rank, she can learn Turbo Charge, which helps her increase Mario's attack for a short time at the cost of some FP. But then if you're able to upgrade her to Ultra Rank, oh boy, she can learn Mega Shock, which causes her to paralyze all enemies on the field, but at the cost of a little bit more FP than you would for Turbo Charge. Sadly, this is really all we know about What, aside from a species, which is a little Sparky, a kind of obscure enemy in the Mario universe. And also, she's practically a newborn.
Beaten by a little girl!
Yeah, a little girl can kick your ass, not any little girl.
Another infamous character, who would have guessed? Yeah, you know who I'm talking about, so... Cole, everybody. I know I'm still talking about a game that I hardly know anything about, but let's just pretend I do. Cole, a bike courier, ended up being in the middle of an explosion. Cole survived the explosion and gained electricity-based superpowers in the process. It's basically the origin of a Marvel hero, but there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, the majority of powers that Cole learned were electrokinetic powers. Sure, he had some attacks like electromagnetism and electrokinesis, which he would use in close-quarter combat, but also use with a mixture of martial arts. Cole was able to use these powers with a charge to create more power in his arms, known as Electroblades. He could also use this to create an electric radar through electrokinetic abilities, and after all that he can still learn abilities like making thunderbolts and arc lightning, which is basically chain lightning, and even use lightning as a freaking sniper. So after you beat Kessler in the first game, Cole learned a few new abilities in Infamous 2. His overall attack damage decreased in his main attacks, but he acquired some new skills in the process, like Alpha, Princer, and Magnum Bolt, which helps Cole shoot bolts from a distance. Cole also got the skill to move further and jump higher, He also learnt a couple new powers as well, like being able to use a lightning hook and even control electrical grenades. And after all that, Cole could still learn cryokinetic, electromagnetic, and even napalm manipulation. This guy overpowered much? And with all this going for him, you expect Cole to be invincible. But actually, he is actually killed at the end of the second game, and was replaced with Delson Rowe for second son. Now I just need to play the Infamous series to make sure this is right. Let me repeat myself for what I said about Phosphora. Just because a character is on this list does not mean I like them. This is the guy who was behind everything that was a disaster during the events of Metal Gear Solid 3. Colonel Volgin is a GRU officer and a strategic operations commander of the Soviet Union, who attempted to seize control of the Soviet Union by overthrowing Khrushchev. And the stuff he did to do this was abominable. Steal an all-terrain vehicle that can launch nuclear weapons? Yup. Nuke a nearby town to frame an American defector? Yup. Beat women to death for information and alliances from a scientist? Yup. Sadistically torture a guy to find out what he knows about his plans? Yup. Kill scientists just doing their job? Bitch, you're gonna need a bigger yup than that. But the main reason he had the power to do this was because of his unexplained skills as the master of electricity. He's able to fire electricity like a bullet sort of way, and use it to power up his punches so they can make wreckages from brick walls. Or if Volgin wants to be a real asshole, grab hold of somebody and electrocute the hell out of them from the inside. And at the end of the game where you destroy the Shagohod, Volgin manages to bring it back to life by running electricity through it and bringing it back to fight you. And in the fight with Volgin, when he has some bullets with him, he can fire them up to turn them into a lightning bullet, or during the second phase, where he can use rapid fire to shoot 30 at a time, making it nearly impossible to avoid, or shoot an electric pulse to hit you from afar. And during the second phase, he can fire up to 3 of these at a single time. And I haven't even gone to the fact that whenever you have a weapon out, his attacks home in on you, making it even harder to avoid. So just shoot from a meter back and you'll be okay, right? Well, in most situations, yeah, you're right. But with Volgin, that's impossible, because of that freaking shield he has, which will block any and all bullets from the front, meaning the best way to hit him is by shooting him from behind. I don't like Volgin. He was the stain which ruined an otherwise perfect game. And that death he has. It may have been satisfying, but it was not satisfying enough. I wanted to hear him scream. I wanted to make him suffer. I wanted to do a Make-A-Wish fatality.
Wins. Fatality.
Sorry about that. Anyway, number 1, it's an Anarchy Reigns character. Tell you what, Anarchy Reigns definitely focused more on electricity than most other elements in the game. I mean, you have Leo, who uses it from his arm blades. You also have Irene, who uses lightning through her nunchucks. Or how about Max, the main villain, who specializes in using it through his Tesla blades? But in the end, I decided to go the cyborg giant himself, Nikolai Dmitry Volgin. And why not? This guy's one of my top 3 favorite Anarchy Reigns characters. But before capabilities, let's look at his backstory. Nikolai is a current leader of Strike 1, who plans to dispense justice. Nikolai developed a jealous mood and hatred for his mentor Max, simply because Max was superior to him in every single way imaginable, despite his best efforts. Although knowing this was his mentor and had years upon years of experience, Dmitry still thought he was superior and was one of the chosen, and that Max was just in the way of his own development. However, he kept those feelings to himself, following orders loyally. Needless to say, when Max went rogue for unknown reasons, Nikolai was more than happy to accept the job of being the one to bring him in. As a fighter, Nikolai is very slow but immensely powerful and a fast hitter. Think T-Hawk from Street Fighter, only more of a cyborg, lots of electric powers, and a thick Russian accent. Nikolai has some basic attacks, which he can apply thunderbolts into after performing some mid-sized combos like a light kick or an uppercut. If you manage to pull off certain sequences, you can activate a large radius of electrical attack, and if you're in the air, use an electrical kick or punch sort of attack. Then you can activate his killer weapon, the Tesla Blitz. By using the same combos you've already heard about while pressing the killer weapon button, Nikolai will activate his electricity generators and perform a lightning barrage, a free combo attack that punches the opponent's side and is powered by some electrified surge and even grab the opponent to spin them around like a bullet. But the main reason I chose him over every other character in Anarchy Reigns is because he's the final boss who transforms into an electrified Dr. Octopus by the end of the game just to try and kill you. That is cool. I'm the Sacred Swordsman, and while I seriously liked Anarchy Reigns, I'm still hoping for a Mad World 2. Come on, Platinum Games, if anybody can do it, it's you.